Good morning. My name is Megan Edwards of Focus Communications, and today we're getting a company introduction to Silver VIPR, which trades on the TSX.V under the symbol VIPR. And joining me today is Silver VIPR's president and CEO, Steve Cope. Steve, thanks for coming on the show today.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's a pleasure. Getting close to Christmas, but it's good that we're still out there chatting with people and getting our company out there.
So before we get into the latest updates from the company, could you please give us an overview of the company and your La Virginia project in Mexico?
Yeah, I mean, our project is our flagship project is La Virginia. It's based in Eastern Sonora in Mexico. It's a project that was originally a mine finders project, and then when Pan American bought them for the Dolores mine for 1.5 billion, it got sat on the shelf for years, not getting any attention until we got involved. But it was a project that had a lot of success in its history. We got involved because we saw there was going to be lots of potential for new discoveries, and that's what we did on the El Ruby section of our project. But it's sitting in the #1 gold producing state in Mexico. We've come out with a maiden resource that's highly attractive for open pit heap leach mining to start, and now we're going to be working on expanding that resource on the open pit side and developing an underground resource as we move forward. But you're looking here, you can see the resource. The bulk of our resource was in the El Ruby area, which is where we made our discovery, but we were able to pull in some ounces from the historic area where mine finders and Pan American were worked. And that, when you're looking at the map, is El Oriental, Con Virginia, Las Guatas Sur. In between here is an area that's highly prospective called Mancho Libre. It's about 2 kilometers long between El Ruby and El Oriental that we've had some success, and we're looking to make some new discoveries there. We're also looking at an area to the east of El Ruby. That is referred to as El Molino, and you can see it on this map here. But again, since we paused drilling for the first time since 2018, we've really been hammering the mapping and sampling, and that area has really lit up, as being this potential parallel structure that, the structures that run for hundreds of kilometers. But you're trying to vector in on the sweet spot, and El Molino, especially the southern portion of it, really looks like we might be vectoring in on one of those. So we're excited to test that next year with a drill program, potentially making a new discovery, and then we'll also be following up on El Ruby, testing it at depth, and then also trying to really expand it to the north.
And recently, Silver VIPR has announced a non-binding LOI of Canasil Resources, another company with a wide range of polymetallic projects in Mexico and Canada. Could you run us through this proposed acquisition?
Yeah, I mean, the transaction is very straightforward. It's a 4-to-1 share swap. For every 4 shares of Canasil, they get 1 share of Silver VIPR. And beyond that, we have to do a $1 million raise, which we're in the middle of right now. And they had to do a small raise of 260,000+, which they've already closed and completed. And then beyond that, we're just going through our due diligence and as we move forward, and hopefully we'll be announcing a definitive agreement, either this month or into January, and then, allow for the votes and everything else and close, end of February into March on the transaction. But like you said, they're a highly project-rich company that has had a lot of success on these projects, but never really been able to take them to that next step. They made it. The best example is probably Nora. They made a brand new discovery on Nora in 2021. Haven't been able to raise the capital to follow up on that program, and that was they made 3,000 meters of drilling and made a brand new discovery on a project that we've been following very closely, because it was actually the project we originally wanted to list Silver VIPR on. But I think it's very attractive. You're getting a suite of projects in a country where you can't stake new claims right now. We're going to be looking to, do a number of different transactions around this, as far as the assets that we're deeming non-core, or somebody comes and offers us, something that just adds value for our shareholders. But it's a very cheap transaction for our shareholders right now, and just issuing shares. The value of the deals today is around $4 million. And we think we can recuperate that, certainly with Nora, but then you throw in this other suite of assets that, in themselves are very attractive. So that's just Mexico. Plus you get the Canadian assets, which have a potential for a spin out, or maybe we look to option those out as a package to various companies. There's a lot of different options for us and our shareholders to really gain value out of this transaction.
Right. And that kind of leads me to my next question. Canasil has 6 projects in Mexico, 4 in British Columbia. With the closing of this acquisition, which of these projects will be a priority for the company?
I mean, Nora, right off the bat, it's the one we followed forever, is definitely our priority amongst the Mexican assets, and the one that we're going to keep for ourselves. That's the one if nothing else, that will stay in Silver Viper, and we're planning on running, a maiden drill program on that in next year as we continue to explore in La Virginia. Esperanza is probably the next in line, and it's got the most data. It's had the most drilling done on it. It's the one that's closest to being able to produce a maiden resource on, which may be a catalyst that we have on that project for next year. If someone else doesn't come in and bend it from us in the interim, but that's a highly attractive asset. It's, looks very similar to Pan American's La Colorada project, which in my opinion is maybe the best project in Mexico for the most complete system, an operating mine. But that's something that's going to be operating for 100 plus years now with their discoveries they've made at depth there. And we have that same type of mineralization at depth, on Esperanza and the Scarn system that can produce some, pretty spectacular grades. So Esperanza is highly interesting. Salamander is another one that's very interesting. Vizcaíno's had a lot of attention, as we understand, from Canasil, and it's never been drilled, but it's got some good surface sampling and is in the right jurisdiction. And then you've got Carina and Colibri as well. That Colibri's had some very good drilling results. Then you get the 2% NSR in the Sandra project that's included with that. And that covers Mexico, which again, you can't stake new claims in there. So you've got this package of highly attractive assets that if other companies are wanting to get going or add to their portfolio, they're going to have to come and start to look at some of these other assets in here that, like you said, they're very attractive. They just have never been able to follow up on the successes they had on them. I mean, here, look, Nora, they did 3,000 meters and you're hitting 11.5 meters of 750 grams silver equivalent, which is, 336 silver and 5+ grams gold. Or you get the narrower intercepts with almost 3 kilograms silver equivalent. I mean, these are spectacular numbers, and they were never able to follow up on it. And that gets us, extremely excited, and should get shareholders very excited. And then you can see some of the grades here on, Esperanza, Salamandra. There's lots of, these projects are still open. There's lots of room to expand on the successes they've had. So, we're excited to really dive into the database as we continue through our due diligence and get a better understanding of these projects. But they're projects that our geologists have been to. They've been on site and been following these things for years. And so, we know we're getting some very, very high quality projects in this process. Right. And then you get into the BC projects. These are more copper porphyry targets. Vega's got some, veining that may be more gold, silver oriented. But these are a nice package in a jurisdiction where you have access to flow through financing in Canada, which is important. And so again, I could see either spinning these out into a new vehicle as we come into a better market, or potentially optioning them out as a package to, other companies interested in exploring in Canada.
So you've basically answered this, but if you'd like to add anything before we go, could you let our audience know why they should keep an eye on Silver Viper over the following months?
Yeah, I mean, right now you've got an opportunity to invest in the company at, silly discounts, but you can say that about a lot of companies in the sector, given where we're at. You're going to have a number of catalysts moving forward throughout the year. Or this, starting up the drill rig with potential for discoveries. We plan on updating the resource on La Virginia, on our flagship La Virginia project, and updating that by the end of the year. So you should see a major bump in ounces on a resource update, which always is favorable in share prices. Again, I mean, just if you're talking about, where I think the market's heading, we've seen gold and silver prices moving up with the equities not moving yet. So again, I think as we move into a better gold and silver market, now's the time for people to be looking or quickly into the new year, looking to invest in, the top exploration companies out there. And I would certainly put ours in that list. So I don't know. I think there's a lot going for us at the moment. Silver, especially, I think is going to be, a crazy market moving forward that's going to see a lot of upside. And there's not a lot of quality silver explorers out there that have the potential to produce something of size that's of interest to the major miners. So again, I think I would put that list of under 10 out there that I'm aware of as far as companies that I think are of interest. And we're certainly one of them. So, I mean, if that's not a good reason to invest, then, I don't know. But I think we're definitely in a very good position.
You gave some great reasons. Steve, it's been excellent having you on the show today to get us all up to speed on Silver Viper. We'll have to have you back on to give us some updates from the company and your growing asset portfolio in the near future.
Sounds good. I appreciate it.